Hello YouTube, this is Mr. Surplus Nut here, bringing another part of the series on reloading precision rifle ammunition. We are at the point now where we have our cases completely cleaned. So you can see they're all cleaned. The necks, they all have been trimmed the same length. The reason why on the previous video where I was trimming the cases I didn't check it with my caliper is because my cutter, my Wilson cutter, it's already set for the length that I need on my cases, and I have tried it many times before. They all come out really precise and right where I need them. Just to check it real quick, we can check two of them. I have 100 of these here on two loading blocks, on this blue loading block and this red one. And I'm going to turn on my caliper. This is a Frank Ford Arsenal caliper digital. I'm going to turn it on, and just to let you know, it's going to be flashing because that's the way it tells you, lets you know that I need to replace the battery. I have to replace it on this one. So it's going to flash, but it's still going to read as accurate as normal when it's nice and steady. So let's go ahead and we can turn it on. Okay, see, it's already flashing on 00. But let's go ahead and measure one of these cases. And this is how you do it. $1966. Let's check another one. 1966.5. You guys can see that there. Okay, 1966. Let's go ahead and measure another one. Randomly, I'm just gonna pick one from somewhere else. $1966.5. Okay, so I know that they all measure the same. So let's just turn this caliper off for now. What we're gonna cover in this video, all my cases right now, they're the same length. This is one of the most important part in reloading precision ammo. Your cases, they all have to be the same length. Okay, this way when you seat the bullet, if you do it like 5,000s off the lands, 10, 15, 20, which is already a big jump, I usually don't seat them more than 15 or 10 off the lands. So once I figure that, okay, and I got all my cases the same length, once you seat your bullet, all the rounds are gonna be the same length. So, because if you don't have your cases the same length, what happens is you're gonna seat your bullet like 5,000s off your lands, meaning where the rifling starts on your chamber, on your rifle. And basically what's gonna happen is, by your cases not being the same length, they're not gonna be 5,000s off the lands. Okay, so that's very important. So I do this all the time. Okay, I trim my cases for every session of shooting that I go to, that I come back and reload again. I make sure my cases are always the same length. Now, what we're gonna cover in this part of this video is doing the necks on the cases, or resizing the necks, so we can seat the bullet on the case of on the neck of the case. Which in this case, the neck is this part here. Okay, and then this is your shoulder, and this is your actual body of your case. This will be the head of your case, the back. Okay, where the primer hole is at. Okay, So now that my cases are all the same length, we're gonna go ahead and do the necks. I'm gonna be using, again, like I said previously on one of the other parts of the videos previously to this one, I'm gonna be using a Resize. I'm sorry. This is the Resize body dye that I use to resize all the cases. Messed up there. Let's get, okay, there we go. This is for the necks. This is the Lehman dye that we're gonna use. Okay, it's the regular neck dye. I get really good results with this dye, believe it or not. I didn't have to buy like a Resize competition neck dye or nothing like that you have to buy separate bushings. I just went ahead and bought this Lehman. I took a gamble on it, and it does the necks very, very nice. Now, one thing is about this dye, it does have the decapper rod, the rod to take the primer out. So you gotta make sure that you don't do your primers, that you don't prime up the cases before you resize your necks, because you want to do that after, obviously. Okay, now one thing I want to let you guys know is that some people, they go ahead and when they resize their neck, they resize the whole neck. I don't do that, because normally what happens is, especially on crappy brass, I'm using Norma cases. So the best cases out there you could use, it's Norma or La Pua. They are a little bit expensive, especially Normas. They're like $90 or $100 for like the 308 Winchesters, and I believe the La Puas are like $70 or $80. You might get a special on either or. So I'm using Norma for this rifle that I'm gonna be loading for, my precision bench rest shooting rifle. So on these Norma cases, the brass is really, really high quality. The neck thickness on these are pretty nice. Some cheaper brass, you're gonna get the wall thickness of your neck, of the neck of your cases are not gonna be it's not gonna have the same consistency as far as thickness completely around. Okay, listen to this. This is very important. Okay, on cases, this is what it's gonna mess you up on your run out. The run out is the misalignment of the bullet when you seat it inside the neck of the case, and that is the most crucial part of reloading, minimizing your run out to a minimum. Okay, and we're going to talk about that a little later. Also, when you do your necks, you can also check it for concentracy to see how round your neck dye was able to size the necks for you. And where do you check that, and with what tool? Obviously with this here. This is the case inspector. Right now I have it set up right here. See how short this is? I have it set up to check my necks. And the way you do that is you put it in here, and right there you check it. Okay, that's how it goes right there. And see where the little tip is at? Right on the edge of the neck. Alright, now the reason I have this concentracy gauge, runout gauge, set up this way is because when I cut the necks on the cases with the Wilson trimmer, I wanted to make sure that it was cutting it nice and even, and that it was the consistency of the circle on the mouth of the neck was going to be really, really round. So this is the way I have my case inspector, my runout gauge set up, so when I start doing the necks on my cases, I can check to see if my neck die is performing well. Okay, once I check a few and I know that it's pretty consistent, then I go ahead and I leave it alone and I don't check them no more. You only want that little needle, that dial, to move 1/1000ths, which is like one little line, the tiniest little space between the tiniest little space is what you want. That will be 1/1000ths. That's what you want. You don't want it, you might get some cases that they'll probably move 2/1000ths. Once you start getting one that moves like more than 2, like 3, 4, 5, you have a problem. Now on these, what you need to do, whether you're checking just after you resize your neck and you're checking the consistency, the roundness of your neck, how they came out, or after you seat the bullet and you also want to check your bullet seating to see if it's really, really round, how it went in the neck. One thing is that, like I'm saying, you don't want to have more than 2/1000ths or 3. And one thing also to remember is that the neck, when you measure the neck of your cases on these type of runout gauge, you always divide it by 2. You see how the neck, you can divide that by 2. When you spin it in here, whatever it moves, let's say I spin it in here and it moves 2/1000ths, like 2 of those little tiny little lines, I know that I only have, instead of 2/1000ths of a runout, I have only 1,000, because you split your neck in half. So if you have 2, you're gonna have 1. If you have 3 little lines moving with the needle, like 3 little thousandths, you split that in half on your neck, and then from, instead of 3/1000ths, you're gonna have 1,500, like 1 little line and a half. If you have 4, I just call it like that, 4 runout, like 4/1000ths, 4 those little tiny little lines moving, then you split that in half, you have 2. But you want to keep it to the minimum, meaning that if it moves only like 1 little tiny line, like 1/1000ths, you're great, because once you split that in half, you have like 0.5 on each side. And that's why even if you go to 2/2000ths of an inch on your runout, when you spin it to check how round it is, then you split that 2/1000ths, those 2 little lines, into 2 on each side of the neck, and you only have 1. So you'll be pretty good there also. Okay guys, so my minutes are up. I'm just gonna go ahead and pause this, and we're gonna make another part to this section of reloading, and we'll come right back.